Morning at NTV, we're still having conversations around the country and around the globe. Today we are speaking to our partners at uLesson, and to speak to us we have Mr. Tayo Sowole, the Vice President of the Sales and Distribution at the uLesson Education. Good morning, Tayo.
Good morning, Andrew.
It's very exciting to have this conversation when we're still having a lockdown in education. We're still under the lockdown. For starters, what is uLesson?
Right, so uLesson is a platform that delivers educational content to learners across the continent.
Okay, continent, yes. Not country, continent. Now, that makes a lot of sense. What makes it unique?
One of the things that makes uLesson unique is you'd agree that education on the continent can be better.
Yeah.
But it will not be better by just doing more classroom blocks or doing what we've always done in the past.
Yeah.
One of the unique selling points of uLesson is that it lets our learners understand the concepts better using a combination of the best tutors, the best curriculum, and also animation, illustration, where young people who are for the most part visual learners can assimilate these concepts, understand them, and use them. So it's not just cramming and being able to recite science formulas and stuff.
It's watching and you understand.
Understanding.
That makes it much more better. Does it have unique features that could possibly trigger my children to learn better?
Yes, it does.
Like?
So the pillars of the product, first of all, you can go into it at any time. It's available 24/7 via mobile apps on iOS, Android, and also web. But you can go into it and search for what it is that you're looking for. So if we're in week 6 in school, or since I've been learning from home, if what I feel like learning today is the digestive system, I can go in there and search for the digestive system and learn about that. But also if I wanted to ask a question, so learners usually have questions, even when school was open, they'd have homework. It can tap a button on the app and we'll connect him to some of the best educators across the continent, and it would have a chat with that person. He can take a picture of the question, he can send a voice note, or he can type it in, and it will get dedicated, assistance.
Well, the conversation we're still talking about, it's about online learning, and of course we're gratified to have a uLesson with us. It's one of our key partners. As the president says that we are opening up schools in Jan 2022. These 3 months, this very last quarter of this year, you could actually get uLesson. It's an app. You download it on your tab or on your PC or on your smart TV, that your children can actually be a part of it. Like Tayo says, it has very, very unique features. We need to tap into it. Now, Tayo, I want to understand, what does it cater for? What kind of age bracket does uLesson cater for?
Right, so we have content, so it's essentially K-12. So we have content for primary 4, 5, 6, up until the end of secondary school. So we're heavily focused on sciences. Yes, so we have maths, English, science for primary schools. We have maths, physics, chemistry, biology for secondary schools all the way through.
Okay, so ideally, is it a STEM kind of module that is embedded within there?
It is, so that's the focus.
STEM
is the focus. That's not to say that we don't have other subjects. So we have something called live lessons. Yeah. And what that does is at any time, a learner can go in there and see classes that are scheduled in different subjects, and they can reserve a spot. Okay. So I can go in at 10 a.m. for instance, and I'll see that there's a master class in quadratic equations scheduled for 4 p.m. And the learner will reserve a spot at 4 p.m. They get a notification, they join that class, and there's a cohort of people, there's maybe 500, and they're able to interact in there. It's sort of like being in school, but
but virtually.
Yes.
But is it affordable? Now that brings me to the big thing. Is it affordable? If a parent would like to actually have their children on the uLesson, but they don't want them to be on their phones. I mean, I personally, I don't want kids to be on the gadgets all the time. I need them to go and interact with other people and develop their interpersonal relation skills. Is this affordable? Is uLesson affordable?
Right. So I like to say that we are a mission-driven company. We're not just in this for, economic gain. The economics also makes sense. Yeah. But Africa has to grow. So the way that we've priced this is to look at, what is the number that makes sense, that is affordable to most people? What is the price that doesn't mean that, you know, the average person cannot afford this? We've priced this at 880,000 a year. If you divided that by 12, you'd be paying 15,000 shillings a month. You know, I feel like that's very affordable.
So the 15,000 Ugandan shillings comes with what kind of lessons? Does it cover? Is it a whole block?
Yes. So if you are in primary school and you pay a subscription, you get access to everything in the primary school library, not just the current class that you're in.
Okay.
The reason that we did that is that learners learn at different paces.
Indeed.
Some people are faster, some people are also, some concepts are built on other ones.
Oh, yeah.
So if you learned something last year and you weren't quite great at it, if something else was put on top of it, because of that shaky foundation, you might struggle. So we allow learners go up and down the grade classes that they're in, which is also particularly useful for the Ugandan context. You know, schools have been closed for a bit. So I've spoken to parents, I've spoken to customers here, and some people are not even quite sure what class the learner is.
Of course.
Or where they will go to when school opens.
He should be now in P3, but because of COVID, so he's still in P1.
You
because
get it.
It took 2 years off.
Exactly that. So we let you, you know, learn, go forward, go backward, you know.
Well, someone here is asking then, do I just need to buy a tab and I download it for my child? That is Matid Mayanja on Twitter. Says, do I just have to buy a tab and download this uLesson app and then we get it running? Then the other question is, if I don't have the internet around me, but when I downloaded the entire classes, do I still proceed?
So, to the first question, yes, so the product is available on Android. So if you have a tab, you go to the Google Play Store, you can download, register, and start to learn. It's also available on the iOS phone, so if you use an iPhone, you can get it. But it's also available on web.
Okay.
So from a laptop, from a computer, a desktop, you can go to www.ulesson.com and get started. Okay. There. So yes, that's the way that it works. To the second question,
on and offline,
of online or offline, you need to be online. Okay. The reason is there's a part of the product that is delivered live. So live lessons. So there's a teacher there that's teaching physics, chemistry, basic science, and you need to be connected to the internet.
To the internet.
Yes.
There is something called the Dev Kids on your app of uLesson. How does it work? And what is Dev Kids for starters?
Right. So Dev Kids is short for developer kids. So software developer kids.
Ah, nice.
Yes. You would see that the world is changing. Everything we do now is technology focused.
Yeah.
And Africa is not behind, so to speak, you know, in terms of producing the talent. In terms
you have a vantage point.
Yes, we've seen that, you know, from Nigeria to Ghana, Facebook, Twitter employing Africans that are software developers to do this thing. It's a way to improve ourselves. It's an opportunity. Take Bill Gates, for instance. You know, his first interaction with the internet and with computers was very early. Yeah. The Facebook guy, all of these people. We have an opportunity now to introduce our children to technology right now.
Wow.
Dev Kids does that.
I love that. When we look at this, especially for the children, makes a lot of sense. But what are the benefits of teaching our children coding?
Right.
Today we're talking digital. I just love the conversation here.
Right. So many people think that the benefits, the only outcome of learning to code is being a software developer.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not. Coding is a very, you know, very cerebral activity. It's also not the easiest thing to do in the world. But with the right guidance, people would, you know, learners would get exposed to how to solve problems. Yeah. You know, there's just creativity, there's resilience, there's persistence that you get taught. There's also math involved. Right, yeah. So learners learn math in creative ways. They're not saying 2 + 2. They're saying, how do you move this and this to get this outcome? And this is knowledge that we can apply elsewhere, outside of, you know, everything else that we do.
So why should parents get this up for their children? Yes, you've given us the benefits and all, but What are the takeaways for the parents to say, I need to get the uLesson app?
Right. So the first thing is that whether we like it or not, our children have to compete.
Indeed, globally.
Globally.
True.
You know, whether you want them to go to MIT or Harvard or Stanford, you know, there's kids from China, India trying to get into the same
space, yeah.
You have to prepare your child. You know, and if you come back home, if you're trying to get your kids into the best schools in Uganda in a few years, schools have a maximum number of slots.
Oh yeah. They can't go beyond them.
They cannot go beyond them. So you have to, but also just more than that, education is an investment to African parents.
Indeed.
It is important that you make that investment early, you make the right decisions. The foundations are important. You know, and you can think about yourself. I can imagine that you can look back and say, I'm thankful that this teacher helped me. I'm thankful that my parents paid for me to go to this school. And that's why I am where I am today.
Yes.
We owe it to our kids to do the same for them.
Wow. That's a conversation we are having. Per annum, you pay, it's not even more than $100. Per annum. This is something we can afford as parents. On a monthly basis, you're just paying 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Gumuchitundu, like the whole month, you have the app and your child can actually be in class. What are your parting shots to the parents? Because I need them to get on the platform.
Right.
But now you, as someone at the core of this campaign, what is that call to action as parents? That's right there, your camera.
Right.
Go ahead and talk.
So here's what I'm going to say. You have kids that are happy to learn. They're willing to learn. This is the best time. I need you to go to your phone or your tablet and go to your Apple Store or your Google Play Store and download the uLesson app. If you have a computer and you're connected to the internet right now, go to www.ulesson.com and just get started. Your children will thank you for it.
The word uLesson, it's not Y-O-U. No, it is I-U for Uganda, then lesson. L-E-S-S-O. Someone was asking if it is Y or U. No, it is U, just the U for Uganda, and then the word lesson. Tayo, that is very impressive. Thank you so much. But if someone would like to actually come through to you and possibly have a one-on-one conversations, where are your offices around town?
So we're basically online. You can reach us via email, help@ulesson.com.
Okay.
Also, when you get into the app, you can chat with someone directly.
Oh.
Yes, and that's how you reach us easily.
Well, there you have it. uLesson for the parents. My dear parents, we all need to give our children the best education.